I never thought one small question could break the quiet balance of a whole marriage. But the night I finally asked my husband to try this with me, I felt something slip between us that I still haven't been able to pick up again. I'm sharing this slowly, honestly, because if you stay with me till the end, you'll understand why I haven't been the same since that night. It started on a normal evening, the kind we had grown used to. The house was calm in a tired way, not peaceful, just quiet, because there was nothing left to say. The lights were low, the fan hummed above us. He sat on the edge of the couch, scrolling on his phone like the world inside that screen mattered more than the air between us. I stood near the kitchen doorway, watching him without him noticing, holding a feeling I had carried for months. It felt heavy in my chest, like something pressing down, asking to be let out. I had practiced the words in my head so many times, in the shower, while folding laundry, while lying beside him at night, staring at the ceiling as he slept. I kept telling myself it wasn't a big thing, just a small exercise, something couples do to feel closer, something gentle, something safe. But my hands were shaking anyway. We had been married long enough to know each other's habits, but not long enough to stop feeling lonely beside each other. Somewhere along the way, love turned into routine. We didn't fight much. We didn't laugh much either. We existed in the same space, sharing meals, sharing bills, sharing silence. And that silence had grown thick. I walked over and sat down next to him. He didn't look up at first. That hurt more than I expected. I waited, listening to my own breathing, then quietly said his name. He glanced at me, tired eyes, polite smile, the kind you give when you're listening but not really present. I told him there was something I wanted to try together. My voice sounded smaller than I wanted it to. He put his phone down, face neutral, and said, "Okay, just okay." No curiosity, no concern. Still, it was enough to keep going. I explained it carefully. I told him it was just one question. One honest question we would answer without jokes, without blame. I told him it mattered to me. I told him I needed it. He nodded again, slower this time, like he was agreeing out of kindness, not interest. We moved to sit facing each other. That alone felt strange. We hadn't done that in a long time. His knees were close to mine. I noticed a small stain on his shirt. I noticed the way his jaw tightened when he felt uncomfortable. All the little things you see when you really look. My heart was beating so hard I was afraid he could hear it. I told him I would go first, but he stopped me. He said, "No, you asked." His voice was calm, but distant. That distance scared me more than anger ever could. I swallowed and asked the question I had been holding on to for so long. I asked him if he still felt chosen by me, or if he felt like he was just there because leaving would be harder. The room felt different after that, like the air shifted, like the walls leaned in closer. I didn't mean for it to sound so heavy, but once it left my mouth, I couldn't take it back. I watched his face change in real time. His eyes dropped to the floor. His lips pressed together. He didn't answer right away. The silence stretched. Seconds passed, maybe longer. My chest started to ache. I tried to tell myself it was okay to wait, that honesty takes time, but every second without an answer felt like a crack spreading inside me. Finally, he let out a slow breath, not a sigh of relief, more like someone letting go of something they'd been holding too long. He said he didn't know how to answer that. Those words hit me harder than a yes or no ever could. I nodded, pretending I understood, pretending it didn't hurt, but my hands were cold. My stomach felt hollow. He looked up then, really looked at me, and said he hadn't felt chosen in a long time. He said he felt needed, expected, depended on, but not chosen, not wanted in a way that made him feel alive. His voice wasn't angry, that somehow made it worse. It was quiet, almost gentle, like he was stating a fact he had already accepted. I wanted to interrupt. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to explain how tired I had been, how hard I tried, how much I cared in ways he never noticed. But I stayed quiet because this was the rule. One question, honest answers, no fighting. Then he said something I still hear in my head when the house is too quiet. He said he stayed because it was easier to stay than to imagine starting over. I felt something break open inside me, not loudly, just a soft, painful crack. Tears filled my eyes, but I didn't let them fall right away. I didn't want to make him stop talking. I needed to hear it, even if it hurt. I asked him if he still loved me. The words came out before I could stop them. I knew I wasn't supposed to ask another question, but fear doesn't follow rules. He hesitated again. That pause was louder than anything he could have said. He told me he cared about me deeply. He said I was important to him. He said our life mattered. But love, the kind that feels warm and exciting and sure, felt far away to him now. I remember nodding like I was okay with that answer. I remember forcing a small smile. Inside, everything felt like it was collapsing. I had asked for honesty, and I got it, but I wasn't ready for how heavy it would feel. The room felt colder. The light above us suddenly seemed too bright. I noticed the sound of a car passing outside. Life, moving on, while something between us stood completely still. He reached for my hand, then like he wanted to comfort me, but I gently pulled away. Not out of anger, out of confusion. I didn't know how to accept comfort from someone who had just admitted they were staying out of ease, not desire. That we sat there for a long time after that. No more questions, no more words. Just the sound of the fan and our breathing, uneven and tense. I kept thinking about all the moments I thought we were building something strong, and wondering when it had turned into this quiet distance without me noticing. Eventually, he stood up and said he was going to take a shower. His voice was soft, careful, like he was afraid I might shatter if he spoke too loud. I watched him walk away, and for the first time since we married, I felt truly alone in that house. That night, we slept on the same bed, but it felt like miles apart. He turned his back to me. I faced the wall, staring into darkness, replaying every word. I wondered if I had ruined us by asking, or if I had finally seen the truth that had been waiting for me all along. The days after were different, subtle, but different. He was kinder, in a careful way. I was quieter. We moved around each other like we were both carrying something fragile and unnamed. The question I asked stayed between us, hanging in the air, unspoken, but always present. Sometimes I catch him looking at me like he wants to say something, then stopping himself. Sometimes I feel the urge to apologize for asking, even though I know I shouldn't. Other times, I feel grateful I finally did, because living without truth hurts in a slow, invisible way. I don't know what will happen next. I don't know if honesty will pull us back together or quietly push us apart. All I know is that one question changed everything I thought I understood about love, about marriage, and about the risks we take when we finally speak. If this story touched you, please like, comment, or subscribe so we can share more real moments like this together.